In the boundless expanse of the savannah, a man noticed something strange, a gigantic elephant standing utterly still, almost like a statue against the golden horizon. The elephant seemed completely unmoving, showing no signs of typical behavior. Driven by curiosity, he slowly approached, his heart racing. As he got closer, he realized something was off, and his concern grew. With a sense of urgency, he grabbed his phone and alerted the authorities. But the true shock lay in what was about to unfold. Jacob was a seasoned vet, someone who lived and breathed his work in the wildlife park. Each day he carried out morning checks, scouring the park for any unusual signs or injured animals, and he loved the opportunity to be around so many different creatures. One morning while doing his routine rounds in his off-road Jeep, Jacob noticed something peculiar up ahead. A lone elephant, standing still, almost eerily so. This wasn't typical behavior, and he sensed right away that something could be wrong. Deciding it was best to keep a safe distance, Jacob parked his vehicle and carefully watched, attempting to understand why this magnificent creature was alone and unmoving. He thought that perhaps it had become separated from its herd and was waiting patiently for them to return. But as minutes turned into hours, the elephant's position didn't change. To add to the mystery, other staff members had reported similar sightings of elephants waiting in certain areas, which made the situation even harder to interpret. Patiently, Jacob sat in his car, observing the scene closely, taking in every detail. The elephant didn't so much as flick its tail or wiggle its ears, a stillness that was deeply unusual. Typically, even resting elephants make slight movements, swatting away flies with their tails or shifting their ears to pick up sounds. But this one was as still as a rock. The unrelenting heat was exhausting, but Jacob couldn't bring himself to leave. He felt that something important was keeping him there. Eventually, his instincts urged him to get a closer look, so he edged his vehicle forward, moving as slowly and quietly as possible, careful not to startle the animal. As he approached, he stepped out of his vehicle cautiously, keeping a respectful distance and standing still, unsure of what reaction he might provoke. The elephant, hearing the soft sound of the car door, turned its head to look at him. Jacob held his breath, relieved to see that it showed no signs of aggression, only a calm, almost understanding gaze. He waited there in a tense silence until the elephant seemed to lose interest in his presence. Feeling a mix of fear and determination, Jacob returned to his vehicle, grabbed his binoculars, and watched from a safer distance. Through the lens, Jacob's heart ached at what he saw. Tears were streaming from the elephant's eyes, leaving dark trails down its face. It was as if the animal was crying out for help, and Jacob was immediately filled with a sense of urgency. He quickly called the park's emergency team, describing the unusual scene and expressing his concern. Trusting his instincts had led him to this moment, and he knew leaving would have meant missing an animal in desperate need. Putting his fear aside, Jacob slowly approached the elephant again, this time with an intense need to comfort it. The elephant simply gazed back at him, its eyes mirroring an emotion that felt almost human. Moved by the sight, Jacob knelt a few meters away and spoke softly, knowing his words wouldn't be understood, but hoping his tone might provide some comfort. Years of working with animals had taught him that, while they don't understand language, they certainly understand intention. Remarkably, the elephant seemed to relax, as though sensing Jacob's compassion. As he continued to murmur soothing words, something unexpected happened. The elephant lowered itself, almost as if in response, showing a level of trust that made Jacob's heart swell. Finally, the sound of approaching vehicles broke the quiet, and Jacob looked up to see the rescue team arriving. Relieved, he rose to his feet and waved them over, quickly filling them in on what he'd observed and pointing toward the suffering animal. The team, equally struck by the scene, took stock of the situation with wide eyes. They noticed the source of the elephant's distress, a large inflamed abscess on its back, an injury that must have been causing it unbearable pain. Moving quickly, the team prepared a dose of anesthetic, understanding the difficulty and risk involved in sedating such a large creature. They knew that the elephant could take time to go under, possibly reacting aggressively to the needle. Despite the risks, they proceeded with careful precision. Once the elephant was safely under, the medical team began the delicate work of treating the abscess. They moved with urgency, knowing they had only a short window before the anesthesia might wear off. The procedure went smoothly until, to Jacob's alarm, he saw the elephant starting to stir. Signaling the team, they hastened their work, finishing the treatment just in time. As the elephant began to awaken, they hurriedly retreated to their vehicles, watching closely from a safer distance. At first, the elephant remained motionless, and Jacob's heart raced as he wondered if they'd done enough. Then, with great relief, he saw it begin to wag its tail, a small but hopeful sign that the elephant was recovering. Feeling reassured, the team prepared to leave, planning to check on the elephant the following day. Just as they were about to depart, something truly remarkable happened. The elephant slowly walked toward their vehicles, its massive form approaching deliberately. The team held their breath, bracing themselves. But instead of simply passing by, the elephant headed straight for Jacob's car, reaching out with its trunk. Gently, it extended its trunk through the open window and wrapped it softly around Jacob, an undeniable gesture of gratitude. Known for their emotional depth, elephants are capable of forming strong memories and emotional responses to kind treatment, and this was clearly its way of thanking the man who had brought it relief. Moved to the point of tears, the entire team watched in awe, overwhelmed by the simple yet profound gesture. After a few moments, the elephant slowly turned and began its journey back into the savannah, leaving behind an unforgettable memory of a bond that needed no words. Let us know what you think about this story in the comments below, and subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming stories.